YouTube, TELE Tuesday. Yeah, so I was working on this chord. I've got a wee bit of work to do. Yeah, I need to file it a bit in the bridge to get the pickup to fit properly. But then things are round. I got this one, which is better. Why is it better? Because it's mine. That's not mine. Yeah, so I just picked this up off Doogie. An Encore Vintage. So, not really sure anything about these. He did say this is a pretty special guitar. It's not a normal Encore. Totally, that is very much the case. Yes. So it's also been upgraded. I meant to. I was going to say it was all plain fine. That saddle's in the wrong place. That should be back a bit. It's just slightly sharp. Yeah. So, from the information I've found so far, I've not done an awful lot of hunting. There was one of these that are a sold listing on Reverb, and they'd said it was a 1994 and it was made in India. I think the 1994's right. I don't think it's made in India. I think that is a Samick inspection sticker. It looks like it's got gold writing on it, but I think it's just sun faded. I think it's a Korean Samick guitar. So what I think this is, you know how JHS, John Hornby Skews, are the often Encore CM below, where it says Encore, a JHS product. So are Vintage, the brand, guitars. I think that's kind of what this is. The Vintage thing. I think what's happened is Encore have been doing very well selling the budget Strats and Teles, entry level ones. And they thought they were going to try and go for a more of a middle market kind of thing, like what Vintage are. And I think they tried it just an Encore. So I think this is basically a Vintage guitar in principle, owned by the same people before they actually made the Vintage brand. It's kind of got that thing going on. So it's according to this advert, I reckon it's a solid wood body anyway, and it's not light. Not light at all. Balances quite well, but I'm gonna guess it's over 4 kilograms, which is a heavy guitar. I think maybe it doesn't feel that heavy until you go. That's what it is. It's well balanced, so it's like coming in at 4.29, 4.3, say kilograms. That's it's a heavy boy, but. Does heaviness give you better tone? The capital letters, possibly. Yeah. So apparently it's been upgraded as well. We've got it is strung through. It's got. I quite like this sunburst. It's not normal. This reminds me of is it the old Gibsons or is it old Fenders used to have this sunburst where it's kind of. It doesn't go all the way in. It's just 2-color. It's just a 2-tone sunburst. I think it's probably meant to look like a 50s Tele. It's got a mother of toilet seat scratch plate, which I'm not sure about. It's I think it's original. The pickups, however, are not. They're upgrades, according to the guy who bought this off. He said he got it on eBay. Oh, eBay completed listings. I wonder how much he paid for it. These are apparently Nico pickups, and this switch is a 4-way switch. Ooh. Which I've never actually come across a 4-way switch. So all these things kind of made it very interesting. So I've literally plugged it in, tuned it up and turned it on. So, bridge pickup, how TELE is it? It's really weird buying a guitar or getting a guitar in that I don't actually have to do anything to. I'm going to have to adjust that because it's doing my head in already just thinking about it. I'm annoyed I'd forgotten. I'd noticed it about half an hour ago and I forgot to do it for the video. So, you're never going to hear that string's out of tune, but I'll just not play it very much. No, so what I was thinking with the bridge, normally I was thinking it's got 6 saddles, normally, and this is the long bridge, so normally the long bridge has long saddles, but this one doesn't. It's got short saddles, so the whole bridge must have shifted up the way. I wonder, I bet you this is a smaller than usual scratch plate or something like that. So there is quite a big distance there between where the saddles end and the pickup goes. If you look at, well, maybe it's not that much different. It's a wee bit off on that one. That's a copy though. I was maybe more looking at. I think it's actually just probably more the fact that the one in the Kraken's, the bridge pickup's very, very close to the bridge, so it'll be spikier. So that's probably just is about right for Telecaster bridge pickup position. So bridge pickup, all rocking. So no push pull pots. Try not to stand in front of the amp. I'm just using the orange TH30 and there's a reverb pedal on, and I did have the Joyo British sound on and the rat pedal on a minute ago when I was using distortion. So position 2, which is no longer in the middle, is both pickups, but I touched the volume control. I really like that Joyo pedal. And then this will be neck position. Joyo. That's getting a guitar in it. I can make it play better. I think a little bit. I did say I was going to try and make the action I was putting in guitars a little bit higher than I have been. That is 1.25. I think the radius is slightly off. I think it needs to be a little bit more curved on the bridge. I started noticing that recently. My latest thing. Oh, come on! You know, it's like you can't argue if someone played you that and goes up, you're right. Here's just an audio file. What kind of guitar is this? You'd be like, it's a TELE in the neck position. To a cranked Fender. Rats. Yeah, the pickups appear amazing. It's a bridge like. Right, so back to the neck. So using position 4, which I'm gathering is the two of them in series, giving you a big humbucker sound. I'm not sure, that's a question. Hold on, the way I would always use to check whether it was single coils is if you go. No, I think that's the humbucker. And that's the single coil. Would that be right? Are these going to be responsive enough to actually hear whether they're on or not? On. Off. On. 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 Off, on. Yeah, okay, so the four-way switch, it's the neck pickup, that's still that's the single coil from the neck. As opposed to that one, the humbucker. That's maybe why that that's actually quite a good little setting. So is that how I did it on that one? No, that one. It's quite nice having the humbucker in the neck position, like on the. I liked it so much on that guitar. I basically copied it on that one, having like a pure spiky TELE bridge pickup, then a humbucker in the neck. So this is kind of got that. So in the neck, just in position 4, it's got that. Then TELE middle position. Then TELE neck pickup. Yeah, that makes more sense. Then the humbucker there. Cardinal rule when you're using a loop pedal is don't use the loudest sound in the guitar as your rhythm track, or at least turn the volume down. I did neither of those things. Just use the rat pedal, it cuts. I love that wee cheapy TELE pedal, the one you can actually see. Yeah, so I mean, everyone should have a TELE, and this is a good one. Ideally, it wouldn't be it'd be a bit lighter, but I mean, because it's really well balanced, there must be something in it. It does feel like a bit. That's with no tone. And having been moved from a normal house into this one, which is either freezing or roasting, depending on where the sun is. Today the sun is shining in and heating up. We're probably up in the 20s right now inside here. Like, whoa. Also, Jiggy doesn't really play the guitar. I'm going to do another video soon on bass, because he's getting frustrated. He's giving me this so I don't fucking end up smashing it up, because he's getting really annoyed at trying to learn to play the guitar. He's like, I wish I just learned when I was young. It was like, he's older than me, so he's getting aggravated and annoyed with the fact that it's not as easy as someone who's amazing like me makes it look, you know. And I tell you, things are easy to do. It's like, yeah, they're easy to do if you've played the guitar for a year, but you have to have played the guitar for a year for it to be easy. It's not the whole at the start thing. You really, that's a real big push for you to start off, is to get yourself able to play the chords. But then even now, it's like, there really only are 2 bar chords. Really, there's like, well, there's an E, and then you get an E minor, obviously, you know, as well. So, and then if you want to make it an F, you just slide that up. But now these strings out of tune, so you put your finger there. It's an F sharp, G. Or if you want the minor, take that finger off. G minor, G major, G sharp, A, etc. And then you can do it with A as well. A. I'm using different fingers. A minor, A major, but you put your finger like that. A, B flat, B, C, D. You want the minor, make it major. That's it. So once you can do that, lots of things are easy. But he's now moved on to a bass. He's got a really nice. I've actually done a video with this, talking about this in the car. So I don't know whether I'll put that out. I might put that out. Make it TELE Tuesday, and I'll have 2, because it's not Tuesday just now. No, I'm going to fidget with this. Not because it needs fidgeted with, just because, well, that saddle, just done visually, should be further away than the A saddle, so I need to move that. And then I can't afford taking the bridge off to see what kind of pickups they are. I might see what the 4-way switch is like, take that off because it's only 2 screws. And I'm going to have a wee go at see if I can get the radius slightly better, but it doesn't need it in any way. This plays better than any guitar you would play in the shop already, without me having done anything. So I mean, it might be even better. I mean, the big downside is it's, well, there's two things wrong with this. Well, 3 things. There's 3 things wrong with this guitar. If you include it's got a mother of pearl scratch plate as a bad thing, it's heavy. If you include that as a bad thing, and it says Encore on the headstock. But I kind of like that idea of playing an Encore. Mind you, the wee red bass is an Encore as well, so. You got Clussen type tuners on it as well, unbranded. They seem fine. Neck wise, nice glossy neck. The thing is, it's bizarre. Thinking of this has been a new one. I think that advert that I saw on Reverb for 1994 sounds about right. So although it says vintage on it, it's 30 years old. So it's 1.5 times vintage. It only has to be 20 times to actually be vintage. So it's a vintage, and it's in really good nick. I assume these are the original frets. It's got jumbo frets. I can't really tell about the nut. It might just be plastic. But it's kind of funny. It also, they don't normally say Encore there. Do they not normally say Encore here on them? No sign of a serial number, but there is that inspection sticker, which to me, I've totally seen that on Hondos, a lot of Hondos and a lot of other guitars. I think it's a Samick Korean guitar from early 90s. I remember, I think I've even said it on YouTube at one point, something like, I think I might have said 2/3, it's maybe 1/3, because it can't be 2/3, but maybe it was. It's like 1/3 of all the guitars, electric guitars, or all the electric guitars made in the world in the 90s were made by Samick, something like that. It might have been 2/3 if you included Cortec into that, because they were just making everything. Everything was made by Samick. They're still going. They're massive. The Samick have not only just in Korea now. They've got Samick Indonesia and Samick China as well. They've kind of expanded because they were good. So it's like, there you go. It's only a few years after. In fact, there you go. Live right now. Worked out what this is. I've told this story many times. The first guitar that I bought that I realised you could get a really good guitar cheap if you bought one that was a bit weird was a Hondo Telecaster. It was a Prince type thing. Had a pointy headstock, black pointy headstock like a Jackson. The body was the same as the Baja Tele, like sort of natural blonde, but with a black binding on it, and the scratch plate was like a sort of leopard tigery type thing, the same as Prince's guitar. And I bought that because it was 30 quid, and when I got the nut was, because it had a pointy headstock, the nut was sliding off because all the strings were being dragged down, so it was a stupid design thing. So I basically slid it up, glued it, got it home, and couldn't believe how good the guitar was for that amount of money, because I'd had cheap guitars before. I just never had one that was, well, I was thinking, this is easily as good as Epiphones and Squires, because I was always of the impression that you started off with any old shite, Encore, whatever it is, and then by the time you started jamming with other people, you really wanted to get yourself an Epiphone or a Fender Squire, and then if you were going to be gigging or going into the studio, you really needed to get a Gibson or a Fender. You know, it's like, you have to do that. That's the way it goes. And I realised that actually no, some of these are better than Epiphone Fender. Well, they're kind of made in the same factory at the same time. But I think basically this is that Hondo, because it was heavy as well. And thinking about it, the neck feels really similar as well. It was a 1988, so if this was a few years later, 6 years later, it's very similar feel. It feels really, it's like, you know, it's a, what should the Samick make now? You know, they'd be £1,000 now, Samick guitars. They feel the wood, and it's just really nice. I think Phil's actually a Samick as well. Yeah, it was definitely heavy. The reason I didn't like that guitar, the only thing was it had a pointy headstock, and it said Hondo on it. This one doesn't have the pointy headstock, but does say Encore on it. I kind of like that. But this is just a good Tele. Lots of Teles are good. I like some of the cheaper ones. I don't mind. You know, quite like them. They're kind of light and springy and feel cheap, but are good. Kind of like that wee blue bass I was talking about. A Tele like that's fine. Wherever I put that. There. It's like, this feels cheap, but it's totally great fun and all that. There's an Encore line that's very similar to that as well, where it's like you get Strats and I assume Teles, which feel cheap, but the thing is they're dead easy to play, they're dead light, they're dead springy, and they're great. They just, you know, you're not really going to be so that this is an expensive guitar. People are going to go, you know, doesn't look at this. Could be. This is all the polish and all the shine and all the like a really high grade rosewood, like a grade of rosewood, much better than what you would get in anything now. Yeah, and I do like you can actually see the body through the wood, so it is whatever. You can see the grain. It's just painted a sort of mustardy colour. Is it a Les Paul Junior that's something off in this shape? You know, the more I get, the more I'm looking at it, the more I like it. And the extra sound is just great. Just having it. Don't need it. Tele doesn't need anything. The three sounds in the Tele, it's like Greg Koch's up here. You're just ready for it to go into battle immediately. All three sounds are awesome. You know, your bridge pickup. middle sound, and then neck pickup for the solos. But this has also got the other one for the humbucker, which wants a little bit of the drive. So I'm interested, what do you all think about the idea of this being basically that Hondo, and also what became the vintage guitars, not an Encore vintage, but just the actual vintage brand. Actually, even if you think about it, the logo that says vintage is in the same font as the logo that says Encore. But I think what they did was they tried to introduce a more expensive range of Encores, but decided that because they were such a bargain basement, company anyway, the fact that they were selling guitars for £100 made it difficult for people to go, I'm not paying £200 for one, you can get a new one for £100 sort of thing. But it's like, yeah, but it's a much more expensive guitar, like a deluxe range, if you will. Yeah, it's a Samick. I think it might actually have a 12-inch radius on it as well. It's maybe a leftover from the 80s Shredfest deck. And the vintage series again comes in where it's like, oh no, hold on, it's 1994. Nirvana's happened. People don't want super strats anymore. What? Pointy headstocks out. No, vintage. It's all about valve amps and wearing brown things. Yes, chords and stuff. As in brown chords in as trousers. I know I was there. So they brought out the vintage range. Also, you'd find in 1994 there would have been a lot of those 80s plywood guitars kicking about that were Encore. I've had a few of them that were just not very good. There was a slump in quality before they started getting better again. Round about this time when they all started fighting. This would be after the Yamaha Pacifica, so suddenly you couldn't just make shite anymore. You had to make them out of proper wood, and they had to be playable and decent. Otherwise, people were just going to buy a Yamaha Pacifica. Whereas this is kind of fighting the Yamaha Pacifica, but it looks like a Telecaster, so it looks more vintage correct. But I'll keep these up to date. What I'm going to do with it. Kind of. What am I going to do to improve it? Really? I mean, the only thing that's really is the scratch plate, isn't it? And it's like, well, does it really look that bad? We're just not used to it. It's already got the extra. I don't really need put any more wiring in it, unless I'm going to steal the 4-way switch for something else, make it a proper TELE, and then I'd probably tighten it up with a screwdriver. But, if I put a push-pull pot on it, I could do basically that, which is what the mod I would have put in it. To be honest, it's like the best mod for a TELE. 2 of them in series. This one got it on the switch. It means you're not faffing about with push and pull and other things and pulling off the knob it's not screwed on. It's got a wee screw in it. It's not screwed on right. And you're trying to explain it. Yeah. So, have you got one of these? You ever seen one of these? Do you remember these in the shops? They can't have been that popular because I couldn't find any online. That's me using a harder pick. Have I just got used to the fact that I bought a set of .96 picks by Alice, and they were blatantly not the same thickness as the Jim Dunlop ones, even though they said on them that's a .96. And then the Alice ones, which I bought, it was like £3 for 100 of them. That's pure super bendy compared to these. But it's better for getting a bit more twang in it. Is it? I'm just imagining it. Maybe not. Maybe it sounds the same. It feels different though. Yes, I'm not taking this to download. It's far too good. Really. It's also it's a really good neck as well. Okay, obviously as soon as you say that, it's a slight scuff there, but it's not even through to the. It's not even through to the wood. It's just a scuff, and even. This is obviously not the one in Reverb. I wondered if it was, because the one in Reverb had chips all the way along here. This one doesn't. This one is just in mint condition. That looks like a very big block there, doesn't it? Look there. The neck looks like the neck's not as deep as normal, and that looks much chunkier. Is it not normally the neck's kind of like a bit thicker than that, and the bit on the body's a bit thinner? I'm sure there's a reason for that. It's a really nice neck, and I would say now I'm getting neck wise, it's not really a Telecaster neck. It's more. It is more. How do you describe it? It kind of feels like asymmetrical. Is it possible it's asymmetrical? It feels like it's got a bigger shoulder here than it does on the bottom side. Kind of like an Ibanez Super Strat era neck, but like a chunky, square-edged wizard neck. Yeah. And saying that, how sure am I of any of the teles I've got being actually accurate to a proper tele? Maybe this is more accurate to what a real tele seems. It seems quite flat on the back. Not as rounded, more like a D rather than a C. That's probably what the difference is. Yeah. But is it a great wee telly? Yep. Someone says, "Oh, really? Having a jam? Is that pure? I wish you had a telly. Got a telly. Hand you this. Sorted. No. Hand you this. Encore. Oh, that's fine. It's how it goes. Rocking. Catch you later, and happy Tuesday.